I'm tired, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, just like you. My George Floyd video reaction coming up next. Undivided, a show that uses common sense and doesn't care about your feelings. With your host, Van Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Van Daniel, and today we're here to talk about George Floyd's murder. So I brought on the host of the upcoming YouTube channel, In All Seriousness, the show that brings humor to controversial subjects, Dave Wesley. Hey, Dave, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Cheers.
Hey, cheers, brother. So, man, how you been?
Man, I'm hanging in there, man. I got my Hennessy Black with me. You know, keeping it all black right now. You know, there's a struggle out there, but I'm just trying to stay sane.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So, George Floyd, man, there's a lot going on right now. Actually, a lot came out overnight.
Yeah.
That I think we need to talk about. I don't think it changes. It doesn't change my opinion in any way of what happened.
Right.
But I know it's going to affect other people's opinion.
Right.
Unjustly, in my opinion. But
okay.
We still need to talk about it. We still need to bring it up because it is being reported and people are going to talk about it.
Yep.
But first, I just want to talk about, what initially happened to George and how it ended up being where it's at, and then we can talk about that individually.
Yeah.
In all accounts, George Floyd used a counterfeit $20 bill, or they suspected, paid for cigarettes. The employees approached him. He basically told them to pound sand, which any one of us, I feel like, would have done, especially if you didn't feel like you did anything wrong.
Right.
And then cops showed up. George was still there. So I don't know if he felt like he did something wrong. I feel like he would have left.
I mean, that's what I'd have did.
I mean, I would have stuck around if somebody accused me of something that I did do. If you caught me, the last thing I'm going to do is stick around.
Yeah.
However, he stuck around. Police started detaining him. No issues. Pulled him out of the car. Put cuffs on him. No issues. Walked him back to the cruiser. When he went to go put him in the cruiser, that's when everything started to go sideways.
Yeah, he didn't resist a moment before they tried to put him in the cruiser.
Not at all. So he tells them he's claustrophobic. He fights him, getting him in the cruiser. Officer Kang, I believe, is the one that's fighting him in. Mm-hmm. He gets him into the car, seemingly what it looks like. He's backing out of the car while George is in the car, and Chauvin, the second police officer crew on the scene, pulls him through the other side of the car.
Yeah.
For what reason, we don't know.
I mean, I got a couple police partners, and none of them can seem to make sense of why he did that.
Me too. I've asked officers, because my opinion is he's in the car.
Yeah.
He's cuffed into the car, so the doors don't open either side, and the cage doesn't allow him to get to the front seat.
Nope.
So he can, if he busts out windows, that's a felony. I know somebody who did it. I know somebody served 5 years for it.
Oh, yeah. Felony damage to government property.
Yeah, so served 5 years in prison for breaking out a car window. So either way, he pulls him out. We don't know why. I'm sure it'll come out in the trial. But to our knowledge now, we don't know why he pulled him out. Then 3 officers, to include Chauvin, who is famously on his neck, are on top of George.
Yeah.
Right? I struggle to find out what they're trying to accomplish there.
I don't know what they're trying to accomplish other than subjugation. You know what I'm saying? Like, or some form of humiliation, in my opinion. When I see something like that, guy gets pulled out of a car that he's already detained and he's thrown on the ground. You already got the guy. You already got the dude detained.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's already subdued. There's everything that happened after he was in that car should be deemed illegal. Everything that happened, because there's not a single officer that I know that says, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do after you put someone in the car and don't take them to jail. You pull them out the car and you throw them on the ground. Like, I don't know an officer that says that.
No, and neither do I. And I've spoken to officers as well about this because I question that very thing as well. And they sit on him. From the videos that I've seen at this point, when he's out of the vehicle, he's no longer resisting. He's just laying on the ground. He's telling them he can't breathe. But I think the normal thought process of everybody is, if you can talk, you can breathe.
Yeah.
And at this point, they have a detained person who is... So I'm trying to put my mind into the cop at this point. I have somebody who resisted to get in the car.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever else, we've got him back, right? We're on top of him. We have him under control. He's telling me he can't breathe, but he's speaking to me. I can't take that at face value.
Right.
At first. I just can't, because I don't know what this guy's I don't know what this guy's trying to do. Mm-hmm. However, when he starts pleading for his mother, grown men typically don't plead for their mothers.
I mean, I'm only 39, and I've been hurt several times to the point where it was hard to breathe, and I didn't cry out for my mom.
No.
That is something you do on your deathbed. When you need that nourishment, when you're looking for that nurturing, you need the touch of your mother. You know what I'm saying? It's something about moms that she can wrap her arms around you and make everything better again. Yep. And everyone instinctually knows that. So when he called out for his mom, he was calling out for the help that only that person would understand.
So that was a red flag to me. Now, were the police officer processing that type of cognitive thought? Probably not. However, when he goes unconscious, get up. He's no longer a threat.
Yeah. I mean, hell, in the UFC, if you choke a man unconscious, the ref makes you get off of him.
And he rips you off him.
He rips you. Listen, I've seen Big John.
Yeah.
Like dive bomb, spear tackle a cat off of him when a dude was unconscious. Because, and you're telling me a referee knows when a man goes unconscious,
it's dangerous.
Right? There's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, something stopped working, right?
Yep.
And this ref knows that, but as a law enforcement officer, you didn't. His body went limp. When his body went limp, at that point, every second, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna give him every minute up until he went limp. From the time you went limp, every second after that is murder.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly how I feel about it. I question why he pulled him out of the car. I don't know why he did that. Like I said, that'll come out in the trial. It's not procedure. However, it happened. Okay, up to that point, really nothing major has gone down. You know, them laying on top of him to try to detain him. Okay, I got to get him under control. But I'll tell you, man, even from my perspective, watching the video, he was under control for a very long time. Probably 7 of the 8 minutes of that video, he was under control.
I'm going to say all of them.
Like, even
because there was a point in the video where the guy was like, just get in the car, and he says, okay.
Yeah, off the foul.
Yeah.
Walked up and said, I've been watching the whole thing, just get in the car. He said, okay, I will. He said, okay.
I can't.
Yeah.
They're on top of
yeah, and there's literally a conversation about it. Either way, he stays on him.
Yeah.
He goes unconscious. Now, you can feel there is a distinct difference whether you are holding somebody or you are on top of somebody. The feeling of when somebody goes limp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And when you can see in the video when his shoulders drop. I knew the moment he went out.
Yep.
And I wasn't even on scene, you know? You could see the moment that he went out. And there's no way that 3 officers didn't feel that. You're telling me you had 3 officers in those segments of the body and none of them felt it? Oh, yeah.
The bystanders in Thal know that Chauvin is on his neck. Yep. Now, I will give the officers behind Chauvin the benefit of the doubt that they can't see where his knee specifically is. They know it's they know it's on the upper part of his body and shoulder, neck, but they don't know exactly where. Thal does, and the bystanders do, and the bystanders are yelling. If I could have been there,
I'd have drop kicked him.
I mean, the look on his face when they were telling him to get off of him was so unbelievably disrespectful.
He had a face when I was looking and watching this video, and again, it was hard to watch it all the way through. There's a part where when he called out for his mom, it got blurry for me because, you know, tears started forming. But the look on the face of Chauvin says if he dies, he dies. You know what I mean? Like, how do you have zero empathy?
Well, that's it. I mean, he has his hand in his pocket. Like, his whole demeanor is of, I'm at a higher status.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that. I don't think that he meant that in a racial way. I think he meant that in a positional way.
Yeah.
I'm a police officer. I am the law. Like, I feel like that was his mentality, and that's why he didn't listen to anybody.
I don't think there was a part of him that wanted to. In all honesty, I don't think he cared. In his, if I put myself in that position, being a person, and let's say I'm kneeling on somebody's neck, white, black, whatever, and I feel him go limp. At that moment, if I don't have malice in my heart toward the person, regardless to what race they are, right? If I don't have malice in my heart toward that person, I'm getting up, right?
Yes.
Him not getting up is symbolic to a lot of people of the pressure, especially African Americans, that we feel coming down on us. It's like, I'm going to keep this pressure on you, and I don't care what happens, you know? And that's why you had that outcry, because this wasn't the first time we had an incident of a man suspected of a ticketable offense that was screaming, "I can't breathe," that died due to improper procedure being utilized, a technique that was banned from use unless it was to subdue an uncuffed and dangerous suspect.
Yeah.
All right. They died in their care and custody, right? And I say care and custody because every criminal, listen, George Floyd wasn't the Mother Teresa, okay? So I'm not going to make him the Black Jesus, okay? But he was a person that made mistakes just like every other person in this world. Yes, he had been to prison. Yes, he had committed some crimes. I got it. But the crime he committed there did not warrant death.
Absolutely not.
In no state. I don't even think in China it warrants death.
Yeah. I will tell you, overnight, when I woke up this morning and, confirmed our appointment, we talked about, what happened. Or we discussed, we're going to talk about what happened specifically, because neither one of us prepared for it this morning. A lot of things came out last night. George Floyd was convicted of this. He was in and out of prison, blah, blah, blah. I don't care.
Me either.
I know a lot of people that have been to jail for numerous things, but I can still look at them now and say they're good people.
Right.
Now, I can also do the reverse. People that are in and out of prison, I can say a lot of them beg, no, dude, he's destined to go back.
He's going to be a part of that recidivism rate.
Yeah, he's gonna serve life in prison via the installment plan.
Right.
Via
the installment plan.
So I get it. But at that point in time, he was a free man. He owed the state, the justice system, absolutely nothing. He paid his dues.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you feel of what he was convicted of or what he wasn't convicted of, it doesn't matter. The justice system convicted him of his crimes. He served his time. He got out.
Yeah.
Okay? This crime, regardless of the past, right, was a counterfeit $20 bill.
Allegedly,
yeah. I mean, assuming he knew.
Right. Well, no. I mean, he doesn't even get the chance to defend himself in court, so we can't even say he's guilty. Yeah. He was innocent until he was proven guilty.
Absolutely.
So allegedly, he passed a counterfeit $20 bill because he never got the chance to defend himself. Good point. What crime was he guilty of on that day that he had to die?
Yeah.
None.
Suspected. Just suspected.
Suspected. The investigation wasn't even complete.
Yeah, and and I truly believe that they weren't even going to arrest him.
No.
The
chief of police said they shouldn't have, because at that time they weren't taking nonviolent offenders into jail.
Yeah. So he wasn't even going to be arrested. He was being detained so they could go in and get the full story, figure out what happened, get the evidence, and then adjudicate a ticket or a fine or whatever they were doing at the time, and then let him go.
Yeah. Back home to his 6-year-old daughter.
You know? So at the end of the day, people are going to, social media is blowing up with this dude, like you said, he's not the Black Jesus.
No.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
If you judge me on the things that I've done in my past, it would be tragic.
Oh, yeah.
I am not.
Yeah. We weren't all good people.
No, I was not, but I'm not that person now.
Right.
Now I'm a husband, I'm a father, I got my life together. Yeah. Things changed. I made change. In all accounts, outside of his past activity, criminal activity, he was a good man.
Yeah.
Like I said, none of us are perfect.
Nobody.
So he was essentially had turned his life around for the most part. He was a father to his daughter.
Yeah.
He had had his nose cleaned and all those things. So I will not prosecute him again.
For stuff he's already been
prosecuted. For those things that he's already, exactly.
But remember our last conversation when we were talking about Ahmaud Arbery, remember?
Mm-hmm.
I was saying, it's funny that when a person dies of my complexion or darker, the first thing we like to do is demonize them.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't do that with Justine Damon, right? Justine Damon, they found controlled substances in her house after the investigation. There was controlled substances in her body. They wouldn't even list what those were, right? And you didn't hear that on any major news network. You had to actually follow the trial. You had to actually listen to what was coming out to even find out that they did an investigation. And she could have been high as a kite, running up and beating on a car. But when Muhammad Noor shot that person, they said, well, here's Muhammad Noor's background on how many complaints were against him. But we didn't hear nothing about Justin dying. And that's just, to me, demonizing a person that's dead. Now, I don't think it would have been right to say, well, Justine Damon, or however you say her name, she was a drug addict, or she had this. I don't think that would have been right, because her life is extinguished. She has no way to defend herself, right? Yes. Just like in this case, it's not right, right? You shouldn't do that. It's not proper.
So, I was bringing this up one time. I'm all about forgiving, or not bringing George Floyd's past into this singular incident. But if I do that, I can't bring in the officers' pasts either, because that wouldn't be fair to them. So this singular, and that's why I'm not talking about Chauvin's past stuff and foul and all these reports and all this stuff. Everybody's talking about how they shouldn't have been cops. Well, we don't know that, because I don't have a list of what the complaints were about. But I'll tell you that most police officers I know have a complaint about them for something. Because I'll tell you, from my experience, a criminal will point the finger at somebody else faster than anybody else. It's not my fault. Oh, yeah. He did this. So complaints are complaints. Now, so I'm not going to bring that up, but this singular incident, Chauvin, in my opinion, and it's going to be in the opinion of the courts, murdered George Floyd through negligence. And that's why it was upgraded to murder 2.
Yeah. Because they can't prove intent to murder.
Yeah. So it's not premeditated. That's why it's not murder 1. And I think people are always, we're up in arms about the murder 1 thing. Like, you have to prove premeditation. It's impossible to do that.
Yeah.
They're past.
You got to prove that he got out of his cruiser and said, this guy dies here.
Yeah.
And you can't.
No, you can't.
So murder 2 fits.
Absolutely. And that the maximum sentence for murder 2 is 40 years.
Yep.
Chauvin will die in prison if he gets the maximum, which if he gets convicted,
If he gets convicted and he doesn't get the max, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there will have to be.
Because they maxed out Muhammad Noor.
Yeah. It would definitely.
For manslaughter is 12.5. They gave 12.5.
When the riots kicked up, right? And I've seen on social media where people are saying, well, white people get killed by cops. more than black people. Please explain it to them why. Yes, it's true.
Yep.
But then it's false.
Yeah. So there's elements of truth, and there's and then there's the falsehood, right? So in raw numbers, if we look at just raw numbers, the population, white to black, is 60% white, roughly, 14 to 15% black, depending on who you get your numbers from, right? But it fluctuates between 14 to 15%. So naturally, police have more encounters with white people, so there's going to be more deaths. But when you get into mathematics and you start talking about things like race, right? Race is you take a smaller population that is comparable and equal in size, and then you do the rate at which the death is caused. And it's right around 2.5 to 3 to 1, depending on where you get your numbers from and which site is reporting. If you go to the FBI database, I think it's right around 2.5, 2.6, somewhere around there. Yep. If you go to local police departments and stuff where they compile and different news outlets, it's right around 3. So when you look at that, at a rate of 3 to 1, African Americans are being killed by police officers. When you start combining stuff like 3 to 1 kill rate by police officers, and then also the abortion rate when it for African Americans, which is higher than it is for white Americans. Again, raw numbers, white Americans get more abortions, but the rate is different. Yes. It happens more often in the African American community. That feels like extermination.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And all the numbers that I went to the FBI database, and it's exactly 2.5, like you said. And that's what I want to explain to people, think about it. Roughly 60 and 15. That means there's 4 times more white people than black people. Yep. Right? And we'll go on average about 400 white people shot by cops every year, and about 220 black people. Right. So whenever they're like, well, it happens half as much, but there's 4 times as many white people. Right. So when you do the reverse math, it comes out to twice as many encounters. It takes less encounters of a black person to get shot by a cop than a white person. Yep. You can get upset about it, but all you want, in my opinion. But the numbers are real. Yep. They're raw, and you can get upset about it, and that's fine. Hit me in the comments. Let me know you're upset about it. Tell me I'm an idiot. But I'll reply with you're an idiot as well, because math is hard.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Exactly. Math is hard.
Yeah.
So we did it for you. So it's a real, and you can, so it is what it is. I don't say that to be inflammatory. I say that to be just factual.
And honest. You got to be honest about things. Yes, if you're not honest, you can't fix it.
That's right. And that's what these protests initially were about. Fixing a problem. And I'm not saying it's a white on black problem, because I don't believe it is. I believe, I'll tell you why I believe that. Because violent crime incidences, right? White on black is about 60,000, and it's the only lower number than that is Hispanic on black. Right? And I'm not going to go over the other numbers of the other races on the other races, because that's irrelevant. What I'm saying is white people are not trying to exterminate black people as individuals. We're not coming together and go, all right, we need to get rid of these dudes. Right. What is happening, though, is we have a system problem. Yes. Now, if you're part of the system and you're a good cop or you're a good politician, okay, there aren't any of those. If you're a good person that works in the system, I'm not talking about you. Yeah. I'm talking about the people that are the problem. Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. If you're calling yourself a good politician, if you're calling yourself a good cop, and you're not reporting the bad politicians, and you're not reporting the bad cops, you're just as bad as they are.
Yeah, I mean, compliance, right?
Yeah, you're guilty by compliance. Yes. In my opinion, and I have friends that are police officers, and they've told me, like, hey, man, I seen this guy taking money off of this dope dealer, and I had to say something. I couldn't, and I knew the minute I said something, I was going to get backlash. Yep. and he was like, but I had to. He was a soldier before, and he was like, my integrity would not allow me to witness this guy rouse a known drug dealer, and instead of putting him in cuffs, just take the money that was on him and left him with his dope to sell on the corner.
Of course. And that's kind of the thing, and that's what I mean by that. I know a lot of police officers that are good police officers that I know have integrity because, like you, I served with them. I would say there's about 10% of the police force out there that are just wrong.
Yeah.
And do wrong things.
But imagine if 10% of pilots were crashing planes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The training of pilots would immediately change, right?
Yeah, yep.
It would immediately change. So I think that's what we need to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Is the problem. How do you fix the problem within the police force? Because when you look at what Chauvin did, right? And then you look at the 3 other officers that were there with him. To me, personally, this is outside looking in, and I'm just using a common sense rule. Those 3 guys saw nothing wrong with what he was doing, which lets me know that systemically inside of that precinct, there is an issue with the use of force. Either you're not going through use of force training often enough to ensure that your officers know the standard, or how you use force is determined upon what you feel at that moment, and everyone else just backs up what you do. Either one is wrong.
So I'll tell you that the training, exactly what you're talking about, is correct, because I talked to a police officer, and I talked to them about the use of force training. Right? Do you know how that's conducted?
No, enlighten me.
It's an online course.
That's crazy.
It is literally maybe not in all precincts, maybe not in all states. You can come at me if you want, but most widely used, because it's hard to pull so many officers off the street for training and pay and all that stuff, that they let them do it online at their house. And it's like
That's ridiculous.
It's like so it's literally one of those things you can just click through.
Yeah.
Answer some questions and be done with it. So it's not, is it training? Technically, yes. But is it effective? Absolutely not. We can see that across the board in the U.S., not just, and that's against all races.
Yeah.
Now, when we're talking about black people being more, apt to be pulled over and all these other things, it does mean that
now
is,
it becomes a real big factor, because now we're getting into that 2 to 1 ratio where it's like, hey, you're pulling me over, I'm twice as likely to die here, and you're not even familiar with what your use of force policy.
Exactly. So and that's where the problems come into play, and that's why there's protests.
Yeah.
If people don't know, that's why there's protests.
So, I don't like rioting. I don't like looting, right? I'm not going to support that. But I'm going to give you Minneapolis, because I can understand that pain. You just watch the guy that you might have known in your day-to-day life. His daughter might have went to school with your daughter. This might not have been the first time that this happened in your community. In fact, it's not. Very same police force killed Philando Castile. So it's not the first time that this happened there, and you had that emotion ignite. I'll give you Minneapolis. But everywhere else, I'm going to need y'all to calm down.
Protesting peacefully, I'm all for it. Go out there, get your voice heard. The minute you start rioting, you've made it personal, meaning for personal gain.
Yeah.
You are now a opportunist.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that, everybody's blaming the black communities on this. But I'm here to tell you, yes, there are black people out there rioting, right? There are black people out there looting. But I don't think they're destroying their own community. They could be. There are some that are out there doing it to their own community. But, you're just like Ferguson.
Yeah.
They destroyed their own community, and those companies never came back.
Yeah.
So if you're in, I don't know, let's say Colorado,
right,
that has nothing to do with Minnesota, and you riot and you burn your black communities, what are you doing? You're not. You are part of what is the oppression.
Yeah.
You are now oppressing.
At that point.
Yes.
At
that point, you are now oppressing black business owners. The things that we're trying to change. We're trying to get more black business owners. We're trying to, get more African Americans. I call them Black Americans. Get more Black Americans in prominent positions, right?
Yeah.
To change the narrative. I think that I'll give a generous number. I'll say 20% of the rioters and looters are from that community, specifically.
Okay.
But 80% are not. I see Antifa's all over this.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yep.
I see the white kids walking out of freaking looting Target with Legos. Like, I see them breaking windows. I see them setting fires. I see this, and I the problem is I don't think America does, because the protesters don't allow the violence to happen. And I'm seeing that, and I know you've seen it as well.
Yeah.
I've seen black, white, whatever. They're protesters. It doesn't matter what color they are. They're protecting police officers. They're protecting. They're protecting businesses. They're trying to stop people destroying their communities, and it gives me chills to think that these people are out there doing that, because they need to be praised for that. Thank you for stepping up for your community, because you are the people of change.
You know what I want to bring some attention to? There's a picture floating around, and this was the one time that I was kind of proud of the news, right? Mm-hmm. There was a bunch of big, tall, strong African-American men, and this one cop had got separated. I can't remember the city. He got separated. He was by himself, and people were, they was giving him an ass whooping that I was unfamiliar with how you could have your ass whooped, right? Yeah. And, these guys put themselves in harm's way to protect this person that is 2 times more likely to kill them than to help them. That doesn't say criminalistic to me. That doesn't say barbaric. That doesn't say animalistic. That doesn't say, I want to kill my own kind, since people want to say black on black crime and all of this. That tells me that there is a community that even when they are being oppressed, they know right from wrong, and they don't want to see people hurt unjustly. Yeah. Because they could have just sat there and said, time for you to get your own medicine. But they didn't.
Well, yeah, because there are people out there that have common sense. He wasn't Chauvin.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's not him.
That police officer didn't do anything.
Right.
He's out there doing his job. He's out there trying, he didn't, it's just like the military. Like, I've seen a picture of a military where a guy's standing there in uniform, and this it's just in his face, a sergeant, this black sergeant. And they're just giving it to him, and he's standing there stoic. It's almost like, do you think he wants to be there?
No.
Do you think he wants to be out there to make sure you don't destroy stuff? No. He wants to be out there. And I seen also where National Guard, and I don't know where it was at because I didn't get it, and I should have, where National Guard was deployed to an area to protect an area. And instead of standing there with their guns, they knelt. Yeah. Every one of them kneeled. And I'm going to tell you what, guess what happened?
D.C.
Nothing happened.
It happened in D.C. Nothing happened. Listen, I am so proud of some of these officers, and I want to say this because I want to change the narrative as much as I possibly can. I want to change the narrative. It is not all white against black. It is not. It is a ruling class set up to oppress a non-ruling class. Just so happens that the ruling class is white and the people that are being oppressed are black. That's the fact. That's what we're going to do. All right, and that's what we're going to say. It's a ruling body thing. The things that need to change are systematic, and they're systemic, and it can only be changed when the government gets involved and makes laws that are easily enforced. Yep. That's just what it is. So I want to loud on these police officers because, again, it's not a black and white thing, and it's not an all blacks against police thing, right? It's not, right? When those cops in Atlanta knelt, Utah, they knelt, like in the different areas where they came out there and they said, hey, I'm going to march with you. Yeah. When they knelt down, there was no violence. Nope. And it wasn't because they were being subservient. They were empathizing.
Mm-hmm.
They understood those people that were out there were the same people that they were sworn to serve and protect.
Yeah.
And they were out there because they lost faith in them.
Mm-hmm.
And what they said was, I want to restore some faith. I want to commune with you in our community, because that's what community is. We commune together. I want to commune with you. I'm going to take a knee with you because I feel the way that you feel, that what happened was wrong.
Absolutely. And that's it. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to that if police officers took that stance, and they did everywhere. Grand Rapids, I know the police chief went out there and marched with them. Like, this is one of those unique incidences where there's no doubt what happened.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so many incidences that happen where we're not sure about this, or we don't know about this, or there's so many things up in the air that it's hard to be definitive and say, hey, listen, this is messed up. This is one of those times where it's clear.
All of the evidence is on tape. We don't have to ask the question, well, what happened before the footage?
Nope.
The before footage is there too.
The before, everything's there. So 90%, and I try not to go over 90% because there still are ignorant people out there. 90% of America is on board that this is a tragedy and this is a problem.
Yeah.
Another thing that I read, another attack, I will call it, which doesn't mean anything to me, to George Floyd, because I don't think it has anything to do with what happened. Apparently, there was a report out that he had drugs in his system. He had like amphetamines in his system and something else. And I just want to say, so?
And?
The events that occurred had nothing to do with him having drugs in his system. Oh, and he had, and I want to tell you this too. Another argument they're going to come out with is he had COVID-19.
And
I'm here to tell you that somebody is going to say, and they probably already have on my social media, that's why he suffocated. No, I'm going to set this straight. He suffocated because Chauvin had his knee on his freaking neck.
Yeah.
Period.
The doctor has already said that. So we can try to blame this on the Kung flu if we want to.
Yeah.
But the Kung flu did not kill George Floyd. A knee to the carotid artery, stopping blood flow from properly oxygenating the brain, killed George Floyd. Now listen, this is what I'm going to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
I look at this and I look at this world and it's hilarious. It's funny to me, which is why my show is going to be laced with comedy. Because if you look at this, there's no way that you can't find it hilarious, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a product of the crack generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm a product. I watched it. The 80s crack was booming, right? Mm-hmm. But it was booming in the black neighborhoods, right? That, and it's already been proven. CIA's had big involvement in making sure that happened. And okay, cool. Got it. Right? They delivered it out west, and then it spread, and it was good, and it was everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those people were locked up. Now we got the opioid crisis. But that's affecting the white community.
Mm-hmm.
Now they need medical attention. Now it's a sickness. Now it's the illness. And when you see these kinds of things, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Y'all black now. But y'all black with the ability to get help. We was just black and chilling by ourselves over there waiting to go to jail. And that's the kind of stuff that's just wrong, man, that we kind of have to look at.
Yeah,
like
research on white privilege.
Right.
Because I'll be honest with you, in the past, I've taken offense to that. I've taken offense when somebody's like, oh, white privilege. Like, hold on, mother trucker. I'm white and I ain't got no privilege. Hold on. Right? So I went and I researched it. Right? In white
are you sitting over here with black people credit?
Yes. Actually, I listen, I took an Ancestry.com DNA test and I am officially 1% black. So I now have credit.
There it is, man. You automatically get street cred.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you that 1% didn't go to where it should have gone. It went to my hair. Anyways, but what I'm saying,
I got black pinky.
Anyways, so white privilege started out as an economic saying. Like,
Yeah.
it just happened to happen in the 1870s when all the rich people were white. So that's where it comes from, white privilege. Because in that time, when the statement was made, all the rich people were white. Now, that comes to today. It's still an economic ideology, but it probably more accurately should be rich privilege or wealthy privilege, but it doesn't matter. It's still kept the same name, white privilege. So I don't take offense to it anymore because I educated myself to know that they mean rich people, like you said, the people in power, the people with the money, aren't doing the things that they're supposed to do to make change. Y'all don't know, the host of the YouTube channel, coming soon in all seriousness. I appreciate you, brother. David Wesley, man, you're the man. I hope to be on your show sometime. And you
definitely will, brother.
You're always welcome back on mine.
Definitely.
Right,
Cheers,
thank you,
my
brother.
good man.
Cheers, brother.